Grace and peace from our Lord Jesus Christ. This is Sister Liberty, and I'm back with another teaching for you. So we are discussing today about keeping pace, momentum. In order to make it out alive, you must put forth full effort. You must apply pressure, and you must understand that consistency is key. It's interesting because we understand the principle of momentum, meaning the more you do this thing at a certain rate with force, you're going to get the right amount of results from that thing. So it is true that repetition deepens the impact, whether that's good or bad. The more I strive at this rate to apply this thing here, whatever I begin to apply consistently over and over and over again, I will get the results necessary. And so we have to apply that same thing in our walk of faith, because most people, they don't want to put forth the right amount of effort that it takes to make it out alive, that it takes to endure all the way. In order to endure all the way, you have to lay down your life. You have to deny yourself. That takes full effort. And so that looks like you not having any days off, you not taking time to be lazy and to just feel as though you can withhold and draw back. We are in a time where you can't draw back. You actually have to put forth more effort. You actually have to apply more pressure. You actually have to go full force than what you may have been doing in the last season. And so that takes vigilance. That takes sobriety to run this race. We are running a race. And if you don't, in your mind, if you don't count the cost, if you don't think that it should take all of that, then you are not going to put forth the right amount of effort. So there is a level of effort, a measure of participation that you are to be putting in for your own good. The more you play your role, the more you apply pressure, the more you put forth, the necessary efforts that is needed, God will reward you in your efforts. God will reward you. God honors the fact that you are willing to do certain things in order to be the man of God and the woman of God that He is calling you to be. When you are running a race, you don't just make it to the finish line. You actually have to pick up your legs, and you actually have to hold your head up high. You actually have to gain speed. That's the momentum. Gaining speed, keeping pace, not slowing down, not feeling as though you can afford to slow down. What if I feel as though I can afford to slow down? What I've learned is when I stop applying the pressure, when I stop applying the momentum and I slow down, it's harder to gain back pace. Do you know that? The moment you start slowing down, and I'm trying to think of different scenarios because this is a true principle. If I withhold, if I slow down, then it will be harder to gain back that level of speed. Even when you've seen people run a race, or if you've seen race car, the race car tournament, NASCAR, if you've looked at that, that it's harder for those cars that may have slowed down, those cars that took too long at the pit stop. You've watched how hard it was for them to gain back up speed. It's possible for them to make it back up, within the top three, but that takes more effort. They have to be focused. They have to be determined. They have to be self-driven, and they have to apply the pressure necessary for what it takes to gain back the speed that they started with. And so all of us that are in the body, that are born again, that are Christians, we are running a race. And as we are running, we don't get to determine how long this race is or how long this run is. What we do know is that we better finish, and that we have to finish. We can't get midway through and feel as though this is just too much, because it may feel that way. It may feel that way. And that's simply because there is grace, there is mercy in the struggle, meaning In those moments where it feels so hard, it feels as though you can't go any further, God will grant you the grace, God will grant you the mercy to plow through, to fight through. He will grant you the strength that you didn't even know you had. You didn't even know you had. As far as you are concerned, you don't know how you got this far in your walk with the Lord. You don't know how you've come such a far, what's the word I'm thinking about? You don't know how you've come this far in your walk, but you know that it's God that's carrying you. You know that it's God that is keeping you as you play your role and as you do your part. You are responsible for doing your job in the kingdom. And so that means your participation. You have to partake in your journey out of this life. You have to partake in that, meaning God cannot do all the work for you. It would be nice. It would be nice if God can just do everything for us, but it takes your agreement. It takes you saying yes to God. It takes self-denial. It takes you actually wanted to make it out alive. Let me tell you something. Everybody is not making it out alive. Just because a person takes their last breath and they leave this earth, it does not mean that they're going to spend forever with God. That's the reality. But you have to know that if nobody else makes it out, you have to make it out, because there is a way out. There is a way of escape. There is a way throughout this life where you can make it out alive. You just have to run the right way. You can't just join the race and say, well, at least I started. Yes, a lot of people have started, but a lot of people have not finished either. But you have to decide that you will start and you will finish. And being reminded that you are not running by yourself. The Word of God says, I think it's in Hebrews, that there is a great cloud of witnesses that are cheering you on. And there are those who have started this race like you and I are, and they finish. So although we are prone and we are used to failure in this time where many people are professing to be Christians, but they're not living, their lifestyle does not line up with their profession. And so we are used to failure. We are used to people being hypocrites. We are used to people being one way here, another way there. When they get around these groups of people, they know how to blend. When they get around these groups of people, they know how to blend. And so we are used to that. We're not used to seeing people actually strive and plowing through and fighting and overcoming self. Because that's really, really what it's all about. You are getting over you. You are overcoming you. You don't understand and realize many times that you are the one in the way of where you need to be. This race, it is possible to finish. Although you're going to face obstacles along the way, you're going to face adversity, you're going to face opposition. You may even face some persecution, but knowing that with God, all things are possible. He's not going to leave you to yourself. He's not going to put you in a situation that you can't get out of. If he's calling you to endure this race, then he's also equipping you to finish it. He's equipping you so there is mercy and grace in the struggle, those moments where it feels so hard. The fact that you are willing to still plow through, the fact that you are willing to still go forward, God is going to grant you the grace to overcome. He's going to grant you the mercy to have the strength necessary, to have the right mind. You know, as you run the race, you have to have a mind that says this race is accomplishable, if that's the word. You have to have a mind that says I can and I will finish. You have to have a mind that says no, it is possible, regardless of who may be drawing back, regardless of who may be throwing in the towel. There are many people that gets to a point in the race who decide that they no longer want to continue. They no longer want to put forth effort. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to deny myself at this level. I don't want to go higher, because if I go higher, then more is going to be required of me. And so I don't want to go at this rate. And the moment you start to slow down, that is the moment you start to lose momentum. You start losing the consistency. You need the consistency to get the right results. There's something you're supposed to get from this. This is supposed to produce something. But if you are not keeping things going at a certain rate, then you will lose fuel. You will lose strength. You will lose a desire to keep going. You don't want to go forward anymore. Why? Because you begin to slow down. I'm telling you, that's in natural things. Yeah, the moment you slow down in the physical race, then at some point you just don't even want to run anymore, because in your mind you're too far behind. I don't even want to run anymore because I'm so far behind. I don't even want to put forth the effort. Same thing in school. You may feel as though, what's the point of graduating? What's the point of catching up on work now? I'm already too far behind. I'm already too far behind. I've already lost momentum. I've already stopped being consistent. So at this point, I don't want to mix the batter anymore, because, things are just too far behind. It's not going to come out right at this point. And so you just give up. You just throw in the towel. You just drop out of school. I knew people like that who made it to the very end in 12th grade and just decided, man, I'm just too far behind on credits. I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to put forth effort. I'm not even going to make any sacrifices necessary to get me where I need to be. Because again, you and I, we have somewhere to be, and we have to make sure that we get there and that we arrive on schedule. And so if I'm holding back, if I'm lacking in the most critical and most vital areas, then that's going to cause me to miss out. And so, the individuals who I knew, who were in the 12th grade, the 12th grade with me, many of them, or maybe there was one that I could think of off the top of my head who was in the 12th grade, and I may have been in the 10th grade. And I think like the first 3 months of school, the individuals just decided to not show up anymore, to not come back anymore. They decided that at this point, things are just too hard. But who said? The Word of God says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So you're going to do things. You're going to make decisions based on how you think and what you believe. You think on things based on what you believe. And so if you believe that at this stage in your walk with the Lord, that it's just too hard, that you don't think you can make it, you don't think you have what it takes because you're weak, maybe you keep falling, maybe there's a lack, maybe, you want to be lazy because your soul already doesn't want to put forth the effort. Your soul already feels as though it shouldn't take all of that. Although it does take all of that, you believe that it shouldn't. Like, why is it so hard? Why is it so difficult to live for God, to be a Christian for real? It's your flesh. Your flesh, it likes pleasure. It likes what makes it feel good. You like what makes you feel good, what makes you feel happy, what gets you going. You like those things. And so to deny that is going against you, going against your flesh, going against your soul. You are fighting against you. Paul says that's where wars come from, not just on the outside, but on the inside, because before you fight things on the outside, you are already fighting a whole war on the inside, in your mind, in your heart, in your soul. You're fighting your emotions, you're fighting your feelings, you're fighting your perspectives and your thoughts and what you think is right and what you believe to be true. You are fighting that, and that's the part of you that you have to overcome. That's the part of you that you have to deny, because your soul hates God. That's why when it comes to the things of God, you have to force yourself. You have to make yourself. That takes effort. That takes effort to get yourself into the house of God, because again, your world is already conditioning you and trying to get you to think a certain way and trying to get you to believe certain things that are not true. And so you're fighting against your world. And you have to know and understand that you can't let the world decide what's worth putting forth effort. You can't let the world decide for you. You can't let the world tell you what's worth putting effort into and what's not, because at the end of the day, this is your life on the line. And you have to make it out alive. Do you want to live again is the question. If you do, then that takes work. That takes work. In order for you to be rewarded, you have to have put in some work for the earned reward or for the necessary rewards. You're able to get this reward at the end of your life. You're able to get what's available at graduation day simply because you've worked towards this. You've put in some effort. You don't reward people that are not doing anything. This person tells you, well, I showed up to work, and so where's my raise? Where's my promotion? Yeah, you showed up like everybody else did, but you didn't do anything. You didn't put forth effort that was worth rewarding. You have to put forth effort that is worth rewarding. The fact that you may go to church on Sunday, are you applying what you are getting? You may say, but my church is only open one day, Sister Liberty. How does that impact me? How does that affect me? How does God view me knowing that I go to church only one day out of the week because that's the only time it's open? Well, what are you doing with what you are being given? You are being given something. What are you doing with that? Most people, they go to church one day and, they may applaud the message. They're like what is talked about in Matthew 13. Those that are, they're moved in the moment, meaning they may clap, they may give an amen. But once the message is all done, they go back to living their lives, never having to apply what was spoken and what they were given. When you are applying things and when you are receiving it with the right heart on the right ground, when you actually obey it, you actually put it into action, you put it into work. And as you are working it, you are supposed to see that thing manifested in your life. You are supposed to see fruit bearing in your life. When you take what you are being given, that's how you know. That's how you know that you are receiving it when you obey it and you agree with it. I agree with this, and so I'm going to take what's being given. Although I may attend church one day out of the week, I'm going to take what I've been given and I'm going to eat it. I'm going to digest it. I'm going to process it. I'm going to comb through it and apply it in my life where it's needed so that I can plow through. Everything that you are being given from God, you need. Nothing is in vain. Nothing is to be wasted. Nothing is to be lost. Nothing is to be taken lightly. Everything that you are being given, you need for whatever part of this journey, whatever part of the race you need. If God saw fit to give it to you, if God saw fit for those words to land on your ears, then there's a reason for it. And so that means you ought to be paying more attention. That means you ought to be even more vigilant, because the higher you go, it is true, things will get easier, but that also means that it comes with opposition. That also means that it comes with adversity. And so although you're going further and you're going higher, it may seem as though it's getting tougher. It may seem as though, it's getting more heated, it's getting more challenging. It is true that in that moment of struggling with your flesh, struggling with your soul, struggling with your mind. Your mind is telling you things shouldn't be this way. Things shouldn't take all of that. Why do I have to put forth more effort? I just put forth effort in the last season. And so God is going to give you grace and mercy in that moment. In those moments of struggle where you feel as though you are about to, you're about to lay down and die. You're about to give up. I'm telling you, God rewards your efforts. God, before you can even accomplish that thing, it's the fact that God sees that you got up and you showed up. You showed up. God sees that. You showed up, and although you were tired, you decided to run anyways. Although you were wounded, although you failed, although you got tripped up, you decided to get back up and to keep going. When there are many people that have walked away and they may feel justified. They may feel justified as to why they walked away. No, God knows my struggles. God knows my heart. God knows that I'm weak. And so you're going to have those that get up and walk away and feel justified as to why they should get up and walk away, because God knows their hearts. God understands. But for you, why do you feel it in you to keep going? It's just in me to keep going. You have every right to give up. Because, things are hard. Life is hard. Your soul is fighting against you. Your soul is telling you, haven't you done enough? Haven't you put in enough? Don't you feel accomplished right now? Listen, I don't feel accomplished until I stand before him face to face and he'll, well done, my good and faithful servant. And so until then, it's just in you, it's in me to want to keep plowing through. Although things are hard, although you're running into barriers, although you're running into hurdles in this race, it's just in you to keep going and to plow through. You were born an overcomer, and so you just live a life as one who just knows how to plow through. No matter what comes your way, it's just in you. You don't understand and know why you just have the will in you to keep going. It's just in me. Because you already understand that you were destined to make it out alive. You don't know about anybody else, but with you, it's like, no, I have to make it out. I have to make it out because many people aren't making it out. Many people have dropped out of the race. And that can be discouraging. That can be discouraging knowing that, man, I started with this person. And, 13 years in, 15 years in, 10 years in, this person decided that they've had enough. This person decided that they'll stop right here. This is as far as I can go. It makes me think about Orpah. Naomi's two daughter-in-laws. She presented them with the opportunity to decide what was more important to them. Now, she didn't say it like that, but she told them so. She had lost her husband. Naomi lost her husband, and she also lost her two sons that was married to Orpah and Ruth. And so at some point, as she began to return to her homeland, she told Ruth and Orpah to go back to your place and go back to living your life. Go back to living your life. And what seemed in the moment, just sympathy and, I don't want to go back. I want to follow you. Naomi pressed them again. Please go back, return. And Orpah said, you know what? Okay. You don't have to tell me anymore. I'm not going to pressure you. I'm not going to beg you. I'm going to go back. She did that. But Ruth said no. Entreat me, beg me. Please don't force me to leave you. Don't make me go. I don't want to go. It's in me to stay next to you. It's in me to follow you. And she says, where you go, I will go. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. Where you die, I'm going to die. But Orpah, she went back. Her mind says, well, okay, this is as far as I can go. You gave me the option, and so I'm going to take this opportunity because that's where her heart was already. Her heart was really, in that moment, it seemed as though, she had pity for Naomi. Man, I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you. I love you. You are my mother-in-law. And, I'm here for you in a moment. But if you gave me the opportunity, if the opportunity presented itself, I would leave. Do you know that that's many people's heart in the body? Honestly, meaning if they were given the opportunity to walk away, they would take it. They would take it. If God was to say, you know what, you should go back. You should go back because you already don't want to put forth effort. You already believe it shouldn't take all of that. You already believe things should not be this way. Why are things this way? Why did I lose my husband? That may have been Orpah's thought. Why did I lose my husband? Why did you lose your husband? Maybe you are the one that is cursed. Maybe I should go back to my guys. And so Orpah, she went back to the normal. She went back to normal. She didn't want what apparently Ruth saw on Naomi. She didn't want that. She could not foresee that. But Ruth, she saw that. And so Orpah is a representation of those who go back to the world, those who return back to their gods and their idols in familiarity. She represents that. And so she went back. She went back. Yeah, those emotions went away real quick when she went back. But where Ruth saw something else. Ruth said, no, I'm not going to leave you. Entreat me not to leave you. Where you go, I will go. Like the disciples told Jesus, where else can we go? You have the words of eternal life. It doesn't matter what we go through. It doesn't matter what we may or may not understand. You're not always going to understand everything because maybe the Lord has not unlocked that level of understanding for you yet. Maybe it just takes faith for you to apply pressure in the right area. Maybe it takes faith for you to just submit yourself. Faith tells me I'm going to submit anyways because I already believe this is the Son of God. And I already believe that his words are life. And so I'm going to submit. Faith tells me that. Ruth had a level of faith to say, no, there's something about this woman that I have to stay connected to. Although she's lost her husband and she's lost her sons, I'm going to stay near to her. Whatever's on her, I want access to. That was her thoughts. Whatever is on her, I want to be able to get. I want to be able to gain. And so she stuck it out with Naomi, and God blessed her. God blessed her, and she got to be a part of the lineage through which Jesus Christ came through. Yeah, that has to be us. I have to know that there is purpose behind what I do. There is purpose behind the daily sacrifices, the daily denying, of myself. I have to know that everything I do is not in vain. I have to make it out alive because it is possible. It is possible to finish the race. It is possible to overcome you. It is possible to overcome the sin in this world. You know, I've met people throughout the years who said, no, it's impossible. You mean to tell me that you don't go out and sin? That's impossible. And at some point, because of my ignorance, I used to believe that, no, man, it's impossible for someone to not sin. But I didn't understand that that was true with men. What I did not understand is that that was not true with God, meaning with God, all things are possible. God can give you power to say no to your flesh. God can give you power to say no to sin. God can give you power to say no to the world, the things of the world. He can give you that power that you did not even know existed and was available. And so with God, it is true, nothing is impossible. Nothing. And so that means that you can finish this race. That means that he'll give you more grace when you humble yourself. All right, we made it. Hebrews 12 says, wherefore seeing we also are compassed, that means surrounded about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight. There are burdens and weights that try to weigh you down. There are things in this life that we classify as weights that will cause you to feel as though this burden is just too heavy. I can't continue on. I can't go any further. The fact that I just lost my husband, but I love you, though. I love you. And I'm here for you, Naomi. I'm here for you. Just go back. Okay, but I love you, though. I love you. I love you. There are weights that make us feel as though this is as far as I can go. I can only go this far. And if you grant me the opportunity, I will go back in a heartbeat. I will go back in a heartbeat because your mindset already tells you things are too hard. I don't want to submit. I don't want to agree at that level. I'm grown. And that's one of the things that we really have to put in the garbage. You have to put that I'm grown mindset and mentality in the garbage, because when it comes to the things of God, there is order. And so with that being said, there are times when you are, and this is not to eliminate being connected to a body, because most people say, well, that's why I'm not connected to a body. That is pride. That is pride. You will miss out that way. And so it's important to be connected as you are connected to a healthy body. There are different, I don't want to say that. Understanding that as you are connected to a healthy body, you are going to have to submit. You are going to have to agree to the things of God because there is order. And so that whole I'm grown thing, you have to remove that. That cannot no longer be a part of you, because now you are submitted to the things of God. And if you are under God, then you have to come as a child. That's what Jesus says. You have to be as one of the little children. He says, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us. Those weights will set you back. Those weights will cause a delay. Your perspectives will cause a delay. It will slow you down in the race. If you choose to not address the areas of weights in your life, meaning the disagreement, the offense, the areas of unforgiveness, the areas of entitlement, the areas where you've played victim, the areas of pride, the areas of unbelief, the areas of fears. If you do not address those weights, they will set you back. It's almost like a stumbling block in a way, or that hurdle that you just cannot seem to get over. Why can I not get over this hurdle or this hump in the road? It's because you need to address this. No, this hurdle that's in your way, that's pride. This stump in the road that you can't seem to get over, that's lust. That's lust. That's unbelief. That's fear. That's entitlement. That hurdle has the word entitlement on it. That hurdle has the word, perversion on it. That hurdle has the word offense on it. That hurdle has the word selfishness on it. Yeah, in order for you to get over that, you have to address it. You have to address it in order for it to get out of the way. Yeah, if you choose to not do that because you may not think you're the problem. You may not think you're the problem. What I've learned recently is that the connection is never bad on God's end, meaning God is never the problem. God is never the problem. If there are things happening on this side, then it's this side, meaning it's never God's fault. It's never God who's the one to blame. It is you. And humility is going to tell you to look from within. Well, maybe it's me. Let me search within me. Solomon says in the day of adversity, let me consider what's happening on the inside. Because let me tell you something, there's a lot happening on the inside of this. There's a lot. And if you overlook it, then you can miss some vital and key things that you need to address in order for you to move forward. You got to move forward, but you got to move forward in the right way. Because this hurdle, this stump in the road, it is delaying you. It's setting you back. You keep getting set back and time is ticking. The longer you keep getting set back, then the more effort you will have to put forward to catch up. Man, how do I get caught up? That's why it's hard for most people that backslide to return back, to get back in the race. No, I'm already too far back. I've already wasted so much time. I might as well just go all in. I might as well just go all the way. There were key points in this person's life, areas where they should have addressed it, the sin or whatever was going on the inside of their heart. They were supposed to address, but they did not. And that set them back. That slowed them down. It slowed them down. You can't afford to slow down. The moment you slow down, it makes me think about the tortoise and the hare. You have the tortoise, which is the turtle who's, turtles are not the fastest, although I've seen some fast moving turtles throughout my life. But you have the turtle who's supposed to be slow. And then you have this hare who's full of pride, but he's very fast. He's very fast. If you know anything about rabbits and hares, they move very quickly. They're very fast. And so in this story, they are running a race. And this is always a good reference and a good example to refer to when it comes to running the race in the kingdom and talking about the race is always really good. And so they're running this race. And because this hare, he's so full of pride, he already knows that he got this. Like, he is convinced that he's already won the race. Although he hasn't finished, because he's so full of pride and he knows that this turtle is so slow, like, I've already won. And so it doesn't matter what I do up until then, I've already won because you're so slow. You're too slow to win. You'll never beat me. That was his thought. You'll never beat me. You're too slow. Matter of fact, if I wanted to, I could take a couple rest breaks. That's just how fast I am. And that's just how slow you are. That if I wanted to, I can take a break. I can sleep. And so at some point, he begins to slow down. And he begins to take a rest break or a rest stop where he stops at some point in the race and he begins to lay down. He begins to lay down, and as he lays down, he falls asleep. Now, this turtle, he's not talking trash. The turtle, he has just come to run the race. Listen, I'm just here to win the race. Regardless if I come in first or second, I'm here to run the race. And so, he's not intimidated by the hare. He's just focused and he's determined to run the race. And so the hare, again, he takes this rest stop where he falls asleep. And this hare, he's not calling out to this tortoise, he's not calling out to the hare saying, hey, I'm catching up to you, or hey, I'm passing you. No, he's focused and he's determined on the end goal. And so he continues in the race, keeping pace. You don't have to run lightning McQueen fast, but you do have to keep pace. You do have to go at a certain rate, your rate. And so the turtle, he's going at his rate. And he's going. And before you know it, he finishes the race. And once the hare knew, he became aware at some point that this turtle has passed him. And this turtle has passed him so much that he's almost at the finish line. And he ends up finishing. The turtle ends up finishing first. The hare ends up losing the race. And so I brought that story up because that is a good example when we are so prideful, when we are so entitled, and we can allow things to set us back. He allowed his pride to set him back. He did not count the cost. He thought he could afford to take a rest break, and he did not understand that in this race, you cannot lose momentum. In this race, you cannot slow down. In this race, you can't afford to take any days off. You can't afford to take a rest break. You have to know that you are required and expected to finish. And so this tortoise, he finished. He finished the race. He did not stop. He did not slow down. He did not allow anything to beset him. Or is that what it says? Yes, to beset him back, to slow him down, to keep him back. Those words from the hare, those could have been hurdles. Those could have been stumbling blocks. The enemy is like that, where he tries to speak words over your life to slow you down, to get you to back out of the race. He forms those hurdles of fear. He forms those hurdles of insecurities. He forms those hurdles of isolation in your mind, making you feel as though you don't belong in the body, making you feel as though you're not loved. Nobody loves you. You're overlooked. He forms those hurdles. I've heard it said, people can turn a molehill into a mountain. The enemy does that. He capitalizes on your weakness. He makes things seem bigger than what it is. And then when you can't see it for what it is, then you'll look at that thing with the wrong lenses. And you'll take that thing as something that's just impossible to overcome. Man, I can't overcome this. Man, this is too hard. Man, this is too tough. Man, this is too challenging. And you got to know, you have to address this. This is setting you back. And you have to be on schedule. You have to finish. You have to make it out of here alive. And so you have to address the molehill. You have to address the hurdle so that you can get over it. And so he says, in the sin which does so easily beset us, this is in the way. Let us run with patience. You need patience like the turtle. Oh no, I'm going to go at my rate. I'm going to go, but I'm going to go at my rate. Patience. Eventually, I'm going to get there. If I keep going, listen, the fact that you showed up, if you do nothing, you will not get there. If you don't put one foot in front of the other and move, you will not get there. But if you put forth, because effort is movement. Effort is movement. Effort is motion. That's what effort is. Effort isn't just you showing up. If you show up to work, but you do not do anything, you're not moving things, then you won't get a paycheck. You won't get anything. You didn't do anything to earn this. Yeah, but I want my paycheck. Yeah, but you didn't work. This paycheck is for when you do the job. You have to do the job. You have to get the job done. You have to participate. You have a role to play, and you are required and expected to walk it out, to live it out, to play it out. You must do it, with patience. You must do it. And as you do, let's say if you are not as fast as others, it's the fact that there's motion, there's movement. When water stops flowing and stops moving, it's stagnant. It's stagnant and it stinks. Do you know when a person, when they become immobile, when they stop moving and they are no longer putting forth effort, meaning they're not working, they're not moving their body. That's why I think it's called range of motion, where, the nurses and stuff, they have to do a range of motions where they cause the blood flow in your body to circulate. You need it to move, because anything that's not moving is dying, is stagnant, is still. Your blood has to circulate. Your blood has to be moving. It has to be flowing. And so sometimes they may have to stimulate your legs. They may have to stimulate your arm. They need to cause motion to flow throughout your body, because if your body is not moving, if there's no amount of effort, then things will begin to break down. Things will get bad. Things will slow down. And you can't afford that. You can't afford for things on the inside to slow down. And so you can't afford for things on the outside to slow down. You got to put forth effort on all sides, on the inside. I can't stop telling myself no. Opening up my mouth and saying no to me, that's effort. I could choose to lay down and feel as though I'm entitled to gain things. I'm entitled for God to work things out on my behalf. I can feel that way and get nothing done, not be going anywhere. There are people that are still at the start line that are not going anywhere. Yeah, I came to the race. I came to the track meet. Yeah, but you didn't run. You showed up. But you didn't do anything. You didn't, do the sprint. You didn't do the baton race. You didn't do anything. The 1 mile race. You didn't do anything. And I know, because I used to run track. For those who may not know that, I used to run track. You didn't do anything. Yeah, you showed up to the track meet, and that was it. and you expect a reward in your hand, but you won't get anything. You won't get anything. The rewards are for those that war. The rewards are those that go forward. The rewards are for those that are moving and shifting and putting in some kind of work. That's what the rewards are for. That's why we can look forward to hearing, well done, my good and faithful servant. You get a well done because you did well. You did well. You did well with your talent. You did not hide it. You were not lazy. You did not carry on a victim's mentality, an entitled mentality. No, you worked well, and so you get a well done. Yeah, I used to love those stickers back in elementary school. I don't know if you remember that or if you've ever seen that, but whenever you would do well on like a test or your homework, the teacher would put like a sticker that said awesome or well done or good job. I used to love those because it made me excited knowing that, man, the work that I did right here was valuable. It was valuable that the teacher rewarded me. So this isn't in vain. No, this is to help you become the man of God and woman of God that you are supposed to be. This is to get you where you are supposed to be in the kingdom. You need these tests. You need this handout worksheet. You need to do the problems that are on the worksheet or the reading problems or the reading questions that are on the worksheet. This is to get you to where you are going. You are going somewhere. Hopefully you're supposed to. If you are a born again believer, you are supposed to be going somewhere. You are supposed to be going forwards and you're walking in your faith. You are to be growing like a plant. The seed that is sown, that's supposed to grow. That's supposed to produce something, some fruit, a tree, something. You should not be going backwards. You should not be going down slope. You should be going uphill. There's things to gain. You have to make it out. You have to make it out, but you have to decide that. You got to know. You're not going downward. You're going upward. And you have to know that at every moment in your walk and in this race is worth it. Every moment. That hurdle that's right here, that's nothing. Oh, no, I address fear now. I address pride now. Yeah, put that hurdle of fear down. Put that hurdle of pride down. Put that hurdle of lust down. Yeah, overcome it. Overcome it because you were made for this. You were made to run this race. God has already equipped you with everything you need. Here's your water bottle. Here's your sweatbands. Here's your running gear. He's already given you everything that you need. You just have to do your part. You have to do your part. You have to play your role. Yeah. And then you have those that are on the sideline that are cheering for you. And let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus. Jesus is at the finish line. Your focus is him. The tortoise, he was focused on the finish line. Jesus is the focus. I'm looking at him. I'm not worried about what's happening on the side of me. Those are distractions, and you have to count them as that. You got to count them as such. Those are distractions. The enemy is on the sideline too, trying to get you to drop out, trying to throw you off guard, trying to distract you. The moment you turn to your right, to your left, you trip over something. You trip over your own foot. Your shoelaces were, wait, no, we didn't have shoelaces. Never mind. But, you trip over something because you turned your head to that other voice. Jesus is at the end of the finish line calling you, saying, come on. You got this. Keep going. Come on. And then you have the enemy's voice that want to say, they're catching up. You just almost missed that hurdle. He wants to distract you. And you got to look unto Jesus, the author and finisher of your faith. No, Satan doesn't finish my story. God does. God is the one who starts and finishes my story. So I'm looking to him. I have to know how to block or block out his voice and mute it in my mind. Oh, no, I don't listen to you. I listen to the good shepherd. I listen to the one that I'm looking to, the author and finisher of my faith. And so I have to know, for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. For consider him that endures such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest you be weary and faint in your mind. And it says some other great things, but I'll stop there. Yeah. You don't want to grow weary in well-doing. He says that we will reap if we faint not in due time. You're going to reap if you continue to, because that takes strength. Continuing to race. I used to run, and so I know I used to run track. So I know that takes great effort. That takes determination. That takes an awareness that there is something to gain at the end. And that this is not a vain. I'm not just running just to run. There's something to gain at the end. And so although I may get tired, I'm going to fight my body. I'm going to fight my soul, because again, your body is working against you. Your legs, is kind of shaking a little bit, like it's going to give out, like it's going to collapse. Keep going. There's more in you. There is more in you. You've not had enough. You've not had enough until you make it across that threshold, until you make it across that finish line, and you can run into the arms of Jesus. Yeah. Even if you got to walk there, you may say, sis, I can't run that fast. You better have some kind of forward movement going. You better keep some kind of pace. Even if you got to speed walk, at least you're moving. That's what I'm saying. You're not at a standstill. You're not just standing there in the middle of the track field waiting for things to happen. You're running. You're running one leg in front of the other. That's effort. One leg in front of the other. Lord, I am running to you. In spite of what's happening around me, in spite of the fact that my world is falling, Lord, I am running to you. Lord, I may slow down, but I'm moving. You may say, but I had to slow down a little bit. Yeah, but don't stop all the way. Keep pace. Keep pace. It's one thing when you slow down a little bit, but it's another thing when you completely stop. Now you stop completely. That's a problem. No, keep pace. Keep momentum. The more you run, the more you go, the easier it'll become. Man, I didn't think it would get this easier in this part in the race. Yes. Because I'm already giving you what you need. There's grace and mercy in the struggle. I know it was hard. I know your breathing changed and your body felt like it was going to give out. But I'm giving you more to last. I'm giving you more to make it to the end. God is faithful. God is not unjust to forget your labor of love. God knows the areas where you are laboring. God knows your sacrifices. God sees your efforts. They're not overlooked. You may say, but I'm doing this. I'm trying. I'm really trying to get right. I'm really trying to agree with God. I'm really trying to fight this flesh, because this flesh wants to get in the way. God sees your efforts. God sees. They matter to God. They matter to God. He sees them, and he's going to reward you as you continue to go, as you continue to plow through. God is going to reward you. So God bless you. May this encourage you to keep going. Keep going, people of God. Keep going. Your labor is not in vain. Keep going. Don't slow down. You cannot afford to take any off days. You cannot afford to be like the hare that took a rest break, because you don't know what that's going to cost you. You don't get to determine what it costs you. Well, maybe I'll just lay down here and take a break. You cannot afford that. Like the 5 foolish, you cannot afford to not take oil and to get the oil that's available. You got to plow through. You got to make it out alive, and you get to decide that. So God bless you in Jesus' name.